Hey, second grade, this week we are going to move on to shapes. So most of the stuff we are going to be talking about the next 2 weeks is stuff that we started to talk about when we were in school, which is really nice because it'll make these next 2 weeks pretty simple and leave you with no headaches, hopefully. The other exciting thing is after these 2 weeks of shapes, we are going to be moving on to time, which we all know we were already practicing in our morning work back at school, so that should be another pretty simple review week for you guys. So hopefully our last 3 weeks of academics in math will be pretty simple for you. Now let's get started on our lesson. So now that we're into shapes, another term for shapes, or the math word for shapes, is geometry, okay? So if you ever hear that word, you can get your mind starting to think about 2D and 3D shapes. Today we're going to specifically be talking about 2D shapes. And sometimes you're going to hear this word, polygons, when you are talking about 2D shapes. Now these aren't all 2D shapes, but they are most of them. So if a 2D shape is a polygon, it has straight sides and it has angles. So that point at the end, like in this triangle, like an angle right there. What a polygon doesn't have is it is not curved and it has to have angles, so you'll never see any shapes like this being a polygon. So now that I gave you the definition, what shape isn't a polygon that's 2D? You got it, a circle or an oval. Those are the shapes that aren't polygons because they don't have straight sides and they don't have angles. So what I like to do is I like to think, okay, anything that is a triangle or has more sides is a polygon, okay? So basically anything that's not circle or oval. Now moving on, you might be thinking, why is it called a polygon, or where are these names coming from? Something interesting, when you look at pentagon, hexagon, and octagon, you'll notice gon is at the end of a lot of polygon words. That's a nice clue to tell you that this shape is indeed a polygon. Now, the reason I have these three shapes up here as our only polygons that we're going to talk about today is because you guys are fairly good at identifying triangles, squares, rectangles, trapezoids, and all those sorts of things. The thing that trips us up are these shapes because they sound a lot different than the other shapes that we've talked about. So I'm going to give you some clues and some tricks to remember what each shape name is, okay? So let's start with a pentagon. We know a pentagon is 5 sides, and the way I like to think of that is thinking about holding a pen. So pen, like in the word pentagon, that helps me. Now when I have a pen in my hand, I'm holding it with how many fingers? You got it, I'm holding it with 5 fingers. That's the clue to help me remember what a pentagon is, okay? So a pen, like in the word pentagon, in my hand, 5 fingers, just like a pentagon has 5 sides. Now moving on to hexagon, the clue that helps me remember hexagon is the X in the word hexagon. There's a X in the word hexagon, and there's an X in the word 6, which reminds me that a hexagon has 6 sides. And last but certainly not least, our octagon. How I remember octagon is the oct sound at the beginning of the word octagon is like the word octopus. I know an octopus has 8 tentacles, just like an octagon has 8 sides. All right, second grade, I hope those little tricks helped you to remember those 3 names of those polygons. If you need any help, you can send me a message in Google, or you can come to a Zoom, but I'm pretty sure this first lesson will be pretty simple for you.